Hey coaches, welcome back again. Football Talk with Coach Chip right here on the Coach Chip channel on YouTube. Today we're looking at how I may not be the way you do it, may not be the way you were taught to do it, but how I block the A-gap power. How you can install it and teach it to your kids right there in your town, in your community where you coach. Let's look. Okay, I'm going to give it to you two ways. I'm just going to run it to the left. I'm going to run it against an even front just for the sake of time. But what we need to look at is ignore the bubble, ignore the outside stuff. All this video is focusing on is right here, what's going on where the men play. Okay, and I'm going to show it to you this way. Then we're going to bring up a blank slide and we're going to walk through it and draw it up. All right, let's start over here on the left. Let's start with the H. His rule, J block DN, J block M loss. I call it a J block. It's a kick out. It looks like a J. We talked about it on some other videos, especially from season 1. All right, he's going to step with his outside foot first, then step with his inside foot. That makes him part of the LOS now. He's part of the line. And he's going to push off and drive. And it's going to happen right about here. Okay? Because that end's coming off. Okay, he may need to step in toward the guard some for a squeezer. That's squeezing on the tackle's down block. Now the tackle is going to take a 45 roughly, just for the sake of argument, step, not pointing his toe at 45 like a gap down backer rule. His rule is gap on down. It's a progression. Gap, anything in the gap. Yes, the 3-tech. Then you ignore the defensive end. Because the defensive end, okay, is on in a 5-tech. So ignore him. Gap on down. It's a progression. So what he does, he knows my rule is gap on down. So first thing I do is I look in the gap. Boom. Don't even worry about the on or the down. Okay? So take that 45. It's like a zone step with that inside foot. Okay? And drive that 3-tech. Meanwhile, the play side guard, in this case the left guard, is doing the same thing, but with his left foot. Won't be as drastic because the guy's actually on him, on his outside shoulder. And they're going to go back and look at the bottom in the comments, go back and look at my hip-to-hip drill and how they become one, and they're going to drive that 3-tech, get as much movement as they can at the point of attack. Okay, don't worry about the dotted line, him coming off to the wheel. We'll come back to that. The center is going to block back every time. I don't care if it's a 0. The center is going to block back every time. Okay? That way you don't have to worry about learning the combination block. Doesn't have to worry about anything but snapping and blocking back. Snapping and blocking back. So in this case, it's back right. All right. Let's skip the pulling guard, the backside guard, come over here to the tackle. Get your butt in that B gap. Your rule is B gap flip, gap hinge. Okay? But if you want to put it out there for him and say this is exactly what you do, you're going to step your big hiney into that B gap. I wish y'all could look at me right now using my hands like y'all can see me. You're going to step your big butt down in, I hope he's big for your sake, coach. Down in that B gap and check. Is Will firing? Okay? Is the end trying to slant into the B gap? Okay? Don't get lulled into a false sense of security for 3 quarters. You've been doing B gap flip and nothing shows up. So this time you just decide to go drive that D in. Okay? If they put that D in out here, they're trying it for a reason. They want to see if you'll go get him and free that up for some type of run through back there. Nothing gets in B gap. Just because you're on the back side of the play doesn't mean your rule and your job is not important. Block your rule and do your job. B gap, it's like the old fire step. Some wing T guys may recognize that, or the pull check. That guard's pulling. Step down in there. Don't allow for run throughs. Your job is not to get him primarily. Your job is to shut down the B gap, shut it off, and then flip, and then get this guy. All right, this backside rundown right here is the backside tackle's secondary role or job. Okay? Okay, we skip the pulling guard. Back to him. He's going to kick pull, karaoke pull, or square pull. Either one. Don't do the chainsaw or the lawnmower pull like we did for 100 years with the trap. Why? Because when you're trapping, you're just going to do that lawnmower pull and just go flat and kick that 3-tech. Not flat, but get downhill and kick him. But on this one, you're wrapping. So you want to square pull or skip pull. I like skip pull because historically I've had some relatively weak, I don't mean weak players, but they were weak in the weight room, weren't the strongest guys, because I put my best snapper at center. And he may get blowed up a tad by this nose if that nose is any good. And so I teach the skip pull, the karaoke pull, and teach him to push back in case there is some. Y'all have heard me say this before. We don't want the defense getting BOGO. Okay, buy one, get one. Okay, 2 for the price. So we push back and then scrape paint off that center's cheeks. Strike, be close enough that you can strike a match on his butt and come right here and attack the inside number of that linebacker. Block the inside of the linebacker. Why? There's a reason why defensive coaches teach these guys to attack with the inside flipper, because they're trying to force everything outside. Okay? So we don't want to give them what they want. So we're going to attack inside of him right here. Okay? So we can run the A-gap. Because that's, look, A-gap until you can't, running back. All right, so you're going to attack the inside number. And if you miss it and get in the middle, we're still in good shape. Okay? Aim small, miss small. Aim big, miss big. So aim for that smallest point, what you really want. Aim for it. Okay? Which is the inside number. And if you miss it, okay. Just think if you're aiming for the outside number and you miss it, you may miss the whole cockeyed guy, and that linebacker gets in right here. Okay? We don't want to push off so much we're out here in the A-gap. We want to be right here. Remember, it's A-gap power. All right, now back to the play side guard. I said I'd come back to that dotted line. All right, he's going to take that outside step, toe pointed straight ahead to the 3, and drive that 3. All he's thinking is double team. I used to use chip block, not because of my name, just what I was taught. It was called a chip block. He's going to chip off. But the kids think about that like scraping something against the side of a painted wall and knocking a chip off of it, a chip of paint off of it. We don't want him doing that. We don't want him just banging the 3-tech or just pushing him or bracing him like you might do on outside zone or something. We want you attacking his butt. And we want the guard and the tackle driving that 3 at the point of attack. Both of them have 2 hands on him or flippers, ever how you teach it, but they're focused on driving him. Here's where it's different. The guard, play side guard's eyes are in the A-gap. They're not looking for Will. Okay, they're looking for something, and when you're doing it on air in the summertime or doing it on bags that they can see every rep, they're looking for the pulling guard to pull through the A-gap, and then they come off and go backside. Now, really, it won't be that far over. You know, it'll probably be right in here because he's going to trigger on that pull. Okay? And it could be somewhere in here. That's okay. That's okay. Eyes inside. They're used to that anyway because this guy here is taught eyes inside. Rappers are always taught eyes inside. Guards rap a lot. Okay, you buck sweep guys, you know what I'm talking about. That backside guard's looking eyes inside. Well, this is the front side guard. And he's driving that 3 with all he's got, straining. All right, excuse me. When he sees that guard come through that A-gap, he comes off right behind him and gets the wheel. Or the backside backer, whatever you want to call him. The tackle, when he feels that, and he'll feel it because you do the hip-to-hip drill so much. When he feels that guard leave him, he's going to, I call it torquing, because it's the same thing we do when we do torque. He's going to torque his hips and his hands over to the middle of that 3-tech right here, okay, and continue straining and driving, belly to belly, putting his color on his color, trying to cover his color with his color, okay? Torque him. Don't just stay on his side, because remember, we're trying to run A-gap. The name of the play is A-gap power. Okay? Now, if you're going to RPO it, like put your Z, your slot over here, and do a little RPO behind the wheel, have a sign, a signal from the O-line coach that tells this guy here, don't come off. You know, some kind of stick sign or something like that. Say, hey, stay with it. Okay? Make a call. You know, a duo or duet or whatever it means. Don't come off. It's not a combo. We don't need to come off because we're not going to block Will, because we're going to read him. Okay? So if Will triggers, the quarterback would disconnect on that. Now don't look at this one. I'm talking about this guy's over here, and it's a backside RPO. Okay? All right, now, here's something else I think is a little different than what some people do. You may do it the same way as I'm talking about it. What I do is a little different. I go ahead and teach on power. I tell that tackle, if your rules gap on down and you got a 3-tech, you know you're doubling the 3 with your guard, your buddy. But you don't come off. It's not like on zone where either one of them can come off. Like if it's zone and they're doubling, the tackle would come off if Mike fits up over the top. Or, boom, if he fits in here, the guard would come off. No, it's not zone. It's power. It's gap scheme. All right? And so tell them, tackle, you don't come off. You're driving that 3-tech until the echo of the whistle. The guard's the only one that will come off, and that's on the backside inside linebacker. All right, you say, well, what if the guy does fit up right here? Oh, glory days. What are you talking about, bud? So this guy here sees him come through. He comes off and gets that wheel, and this guy continues on. But the only guy that can make the tackle, the free safety, and now the band is playing the fight song. Right there. Because he missed his fit. Because we're doubling the piss out of this dude, blocking back on this dude. Okay? So, that ain't happening. All right, any questions, put them in the comments below. Let's go look at it at a blank screen. As you can see on our blank slide right here, I got rid of all the peripheral stuff. I got rid of the wide receivers, the outside backers, the DBs. We're doing inside run. Okay? And you say, well, I'm going to put, our defensive coach is going to put his outside backer in here. Good. Go back and look at the previous episode about leverage and about how if you're going to get nosy and try to cheat and play outside backers in here, we're going to throw the cockeyed access out here. Okay? So I ain't worried about that. You go sell crazy somewhere else. I'm full up here. All right, now, let's look at it. All right, his rule. Kick out DN. That's a J block. Right here. He's going to step with his outside foot, step with his inside foot. Now he's in the line, and he's kicking. Right there. End comes up. We got him. Collision may happen somewhere in here because of squeezing end. Okay, it's just a drawing. Don't get caught up with all that mess. All right, now, his rules, gap on down. Anybody in his gap? Yes. Don't worry about the on. This guy's in a heavy 5. It doesn't matter. Okay, heavy 5. It doesn't matter. Sorry about that. That was me. Forgot to hit the escape. And delete. See, it's just that easy. This My Just Play app program is friggin' awesome. All right, now, he's going to step that 45, for lack of a better word, not pointing his foot inside, pointing his foot upfield. Boom, attack that guy right there. There you go. Okay? Guard does the same thing, but with his left foot. They're going to come together hip to hip. I'll tag the hip to hip drill down at the bottom. Boom. You got 2 on 1. As far as they're concerned now, it's a double team until later. And I'll tell you that. I already told you, but we'll show it to you in a minute. All right, the center. Snap it. Perfect snap. Block back. Okay? Block back. That's his rule. His rule on this one is back right. What if there's a 0, coach? Block back. First thing backside. We'll get him with a down block from the guard, from the play side guard. Block back. Okay? I've had, too many times, I've had the center, once we went gun years ago, the center may not be the best blocker in the world, but he's doable at blocking. And that's one of the reasons why I started always doing that. He doesn't have to get caught up, worried on combo blocks. If we're working combo blocks with the guards and the tackles, he can take his butt down there and work with the quarterbacks and snap it and just practice blocking back. Take 2 centers and send them down there, and one stands in the backside gap, and they just block back and snap with the quarterback, getting them reps. Okay? He may not be the best blocker in the world. And I've had some good ones too now. Don't get it wrong. Okay? but you don't always have the best one. Primary job, get the ball to the quarterback so we can run a play. Okay, he's the pitcher. Got to throw a strike. All right, skipping him. Like I told y'all a while ago, backside tackle, gap, B gap, flip. With the accent on B gap. The flip is secondary. Shut down the B gap. We talked about that just a second ago. I'm not going to do it to you again. All right, backside guard, skip pull or square pull, scraping paint off that center's back block, close enough to strike a match right through here. I'll be able to touch his booty. Let's don't do that though. Okay? And aim for inside number of the linebacker. You got play side backer or the Mike backer. Okay? Now, back to the play side guard. His eyes are in the A gap as he's driving the 3. It's a straight double team until he sees his wrapping guard come through and he comes off of him. He comes off the 3. Whoops, that's on me. And gets that wheel. Now, it'd be somewhere in here, but it's a drawing, okay? And he's the one that comes off against this defense. He's the one that comes off. Go ahead and tell that tackle you're driving that 3 tech. All right, now tell the tackle, because you're doing so much hip-to-hip drill. Look below. Look for the link to the hip-to-hip drill. I'm pointing below like you can see me. God almighty. All right. Boom. You torque over. You slide over and cover the whole man. Your colors on his colors. Cover the whole man. Cover the whole man. When you feel him leave, because you've been doing hip-to-hip drill with your guard buddy so much, play side tackle, when he leaves, you're torquing your hips and your upper body, pressing with your inside arm on his inside of his body, that 3 tech's body, keeping him from getting in that A gap and straining, getting belly to belly on his butt. And it's just mano a mano now because your buddy left to go get the wheel. Now, if you're going to do an RPO back here where you're reading that wheel, have a call where you tell that guard, hey, dude, stay on your double team. It's straight double team. Whatever call you want to make, okay? To let him know you're sticking to it. All right, what are we doing in the backfield? Well, I got to show you something in the backfield. Now. Here we go. All right, if it's stacked like this, slide step for timing and mesh with the quarterback, pressing the A gap. I actually teach him to press the play side foot of the center, and he's wanting to come right through here. Boom. Okay, there it is. Now, if when he comes off, this dude slides right in here, run A gap until you can't. Well, now you can't. Okay, so what do? That's the bounce to the B. Just tell this tackle, you're not wrong as long as you stay with him. You know, he may be better than you. And when you lose your guard, he can beat you inside. But he didn't beat you on the block as long as you stay with him. And just take him, go inside with him. And your running back's got to earn his pregame meal. He sees that, he bounces B. And you got the J block on the D end right here. And so B is good. B is good. Again, we go back how you keep him from falling in and making the play here with your access throws, with your gifts, showing a willingness to do it. Go back and look at previous episode about 3 gifts that keep on giving. Access throws. That's how you keep a manageable box. Okay, that's how I do it. Oh, by the way, the quarterback, you can do a hand fake, like what I call an arm fake, faking over here like you're doing an RPO. You can boot off of it, or you can keep it like you run an option right out here, whatever. Let the quarterback do something. Handing the ball off is not enough. He got to earn his pregame meal too. Well, that's it. That's the A-gap power as I do it. How do you do it? Comment down below. Hit me up at siegel.chip@gmail.com. If you want a copy of these rules, you know what I say. If I got it and you ain't, it's because you ain't asked. All right? Ask me. It's siegel.chip. Join the fun over at Football Talk with Coach Chip on Facebook. I'm at Chip Siegel on Twitter. Don't forget our friends at Wright Equipment at Birmingham, Alabama. Let them design your weight room. They got all the equipment you need to make your kids bigger, faster, and stronger. I hope that wasn't copyright infringement. Okay? To make them better football players, to make them better athletes, to make them better young men. That's Wright-Equipment.com, on the interwebs. All right, y'all. You know what I like to say. Until next time, be elite.